This is a 2023 Infiniti QX60. Nissan's premium brand's Nissan Pathfinder-sized midsize SUV that started its second generation for the 2022 model year. For 2023, Infiniti tweaked the rearview mirror, made the wireless charge pad for your smartphone standard across the trims, and revised the accent colors. However, they also added something called Infiniti Premium Care for 2023, which offers 3 years of complimentary services, things like oil change, tire rotation, stuff like that. And that is for every Infiniti model. More specifically, this is an Infiniti QX60 Sensory all-wheel drive painted in Grand Blue, which is a $695 optional color. Being a Sensory makes it the second highest of 4 available trims, above the Pure and Luxe models, but beneath the top-of-the-line Autograph trim. And that means you get things like massaging front seats and heated second-row seats. However, those second-row seats are not captain's chairs like they are in the Autograph. You can choose between front or all-wheel drive on every trim of Infiniti QX60, and that adds $2,000 to the price, except for the Autograph, which is a $2,900 additional cost. My name is Robin Warner, by the way, an experienced engineer and magazine editor, and my premium brand is just me, but clean shaven, and totally worth the money. I review all kinds of cars, from a $25,000 Ford Maverick to a $425,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I'll happily jump into Honda Accords, BMW M3s, and Porsche 911 GT3s, and I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price for a front-wheel drive Infiniti QX50 Pure is $50,395. The Sensory all-wheel drive that this is starts at $61,795, and my test car did include a few options and goes for $64,785. Okay, with that, now is a good time to pull over to show you out and inside the car in a bit more detail. All new for 2022. Slightly updated for 2023, the second generation Infiniti QX60 has a lot in common with the Nissan Pathfinder, but is distinctive enough to stand out. Looking at the car from the front, you have this nice chrome perimeter around the front grille, and these days, fairly average sized logo here in front. I do like the squint look of the headlights right here. Gives it more of a purposeful look. Touch meaner, kind of like that. Also, one nice little touch right down here in the bottom, it says Infiniti embossed into the lower chrome. I think that's a nice touch. And matching pattern here from the grille, I think that works well as well. And this lower part, it all blends together nicely. Looking at the car in profile, you get a better sense of how long this thing really is, nearly 2 inches from bow to stern. I'll go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen right now so you can check that out, and let you know that I have a full set of specs in the description. Again, this looks very similar to the Nissan Pathfinder, but there are a couple of little touches. I think it's just this tiny bit swoopier looking here. And again, I do like the chrome around the window trim and this polished metal roof rail as well. You also get a bit of chrome right on the door handle here, and again, down low, Infiniti, in case you forget. These are 20-inch wheels on the Infiniti QX60 Sensory. In fact, it's 20s if you go Luxe and up. On the base model, the Pure, they're 18s. And the multi-spoke, multi-layer look, pretty fashionable. And these are hand-cook all seasons that are mounted on them. It's a good tire. Looking at the car from the back, pretty simple and straightforward. You've got this roof-mounted spoiler right here for all that extra downforce. It's got this almost adorable looking little rear windshield washer, but hey, gets the job done. Tasteful size Infiniti logo, Infiniti across the side here. Yes, this is the all-wheel drive model, and they want you to know that. And, the styling is pretty consistent with the front. QX60 right here, nice to know. And one of my pet peeves is fake exhaust, and guess what? This does not have it. It is all real, and it is right down there. Simple, lovely, the way it should be. All right, let's take a look at cargo room. There are, of course, multiple ways to open the lift back. You can use the key fob right here, this button right here, but this car is also equipped with the kick sensing open right here. and that exposes 15 cubic feet of cargo space and a couple of neat little tricks back here that I want to show you. But first, let me move the camera up just a touch. First of all, you have these nice little straps, so it's easy to put the headrest down here if you don't have all 3 rows filled. That makes it easier to see through the rear windshield, which is nice. And actually the seat backs are adjustable. There's multiple levels that it can be in, which is nice. And as you can guess, it's also easy to fold flat, which exposes 42 cubic feet of cargo room and still room for 5. However, there is one more neat little trick, and that is these buttons right here. Manually put the seats down, but one touch brings them back up without having to lean over to get these straps here. So that is available on the Sensory and up, and you know, it's a neat little trick. For me personally, I wouldn't call that necessary, but it might be convenient and helpful for some. Anyway, back down to regain our 42 cubic feet of storage and to show you, yes, that we have yet more space if we fold down the second row. And just like that, we have a nice flat floor and 75 cubic feet of storage and space for 2 up front. All right, let's move the car back around and look inside. I'll just start it from here. Three rows, seat 7. The last 2 seats are back here, accessed by a push of a button. And you have very easy access to those 2 seats in the 3rd row. No, I'm not going to go back there. It is very much built for kids, and I am not a child, but you do get cup holders, USB ports, and all sorts of niceties, even a little spot in the center for things. How about that? Also, for the 3rd row, there's a button release right there as well. To the much more adult-like 2nd row, I am 5'11" or 181 centimeters tall, and I have plenty of knee room. And the seat bottoms are nice and high, so I have good thigh support as well. Go ahead and show you that I have a lot less than 90 degrees bend in my knees. And even with this panoramic moonroof, I have almost enough headroom. Being a Sensory, there are a lot of nice things in here. For example, the 2nd row heated seats, which is nice right there. Now the 3-zone climate control, that's actually standard across the board, but the heated seats for the outer bound 2nd row, that is not. You also have more USB ports down here, AC power beneath that, and on sunnier days, you have a shade as well. How about that? Generally, these seats are comfortable, and if there's not 3 of you in the middle row, look at that, you get an armrest and cup holders. What luxury. By the way, I can just turn this on and off right here if I want to control it. To the front. Nice leathers, of course. Usual things right here. You do have 2-position seat memory right here. And here's your button for seat massage and other controls down here. Yes, you do get lumbar as well. There's a few buttons right here. This one is worth talking about. This is your steering assist button. So that is how you turn on and off the steering assist portion on the interstate. You do also have electrically adjusting tilt and telescope steering, and you can see right here, you do have paddle shifters as well. Here is your fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster that Infiniti calls dynamic meter display, and it is available on the Luxe models and up, the Luxe trims and up. This Sensory Infiniti also has the 10.8-inch head-up display that is part of the Vision package, which is $1,500. And next to that is the 12.3-inch center console touchscreen, and this is standard on every QX60. It comes with wireless Apple CarPlay, but it is wired Android Auto. It's interesting that they're split that way. That's not usually the case. And new for 2023 is the standard wireless device charger right here. That used to be only on the more premium models. And you can also see behind it a couple of more USB ports. Just above that are the other 2 zones of your 3-zone climate control, and you do also have heated seats and heated steering wheel as well. And looking down beneath that, We have usual controls here, pretty typical shifter right here. It is electric parking. Here's a control system for the center console touchscreen, but you can also just touch it. And of course, drive modes. Get to those in just a moment. Looking up, here is your frameless rear view mirror, and if you flip it up, it becomes a screen for a camera in back. This is also part of the $1,500 Vision package. And above that are the controls for the panoramic moonroof right there. I have that open to let in as much light as possible because it is a nice and cloudy day here in Michigan. Okay, drive modes. Select right here, we have 5 drive modes. They are Eco, Snow, Auto, Sport, and Personal. Pretty standard drive modes these days, and a good reminder that we should get back to the drive. So let's do that. All right, let's dig into this powertrain. The one and only engine in the Infiniti QX60 is a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 that is worth 295 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 270 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. By the way, the red line is a nice and healthy 6,600 RPM. That's nice and high compared to a lot of turbo engines these days. The 3.5-liter V6 has an 11.0 to 1 compression ratio, direct fuel injection, and 4 valves per cylinder. But it does also ask for premium fuel. Now, this is effectively the exact same engine that's in the Nissan Pathfinder, also a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, etc., etc. You do get 11 more horsepower and 11 more pound-feet of torque. However, the Nissan Pathfinder does recommend regular fuel for its car. So basically what you can take from that is, if you were to put regular fuel in the Infiniti QX60, it would run just fine, but make 11 fewer horsepower and 11 fewer pound-feet of torque at its peak. Also, just like the Nissan Pathfinder, the one and only transmission is a 9-speed automatic transmission, and it works just fine. The shifts happen smoothly, quietly, and generally when you want them to. As I already mentioned, this is an inherently front-wheel drive car, and yes, the V6 is mounted transversely, so across the front like that. However, the all-wheel drive system is available across the board, as I said, and can deliver up to 50% of the power to the rear axle. It's also a nice and stout powertrain. These days, you'd almost call it old school. No turbochargers, no hybrid anything, just an engine doing engine things. I like the fact that you've got a healthy amount of displacement. I like the fact that it's naturally aspirated and revs to a nice and healthy number. It's relatively simple, and yet it works well. It delivers stout power. It has good mid-range, even though you don't have turbos to help along in the lower revs. And everything is very linear and very natural. And it's just simple and easy to modulate in the throttle. It's just a nice working engine. Now, it's not the smoothest V6 out there. It is a touch more coarse than the best premium V6s out there. You know, the Acura MDX to me does feel a little bit more refined, but this definitely gets the job done. And objectively, it's quiet when you want to be, has a nice V6 growl when you want that, and the 9-speed transmission helps keep the engine revs in a good place as well. It's a strong, solid setup. And fuel economy is respectable as well. You get 20 miles to the gallon in the city, 25 on the highway, 22 combined. If you go front-wheel drive instead of all-wheel drive, those numbers do tick up, and I'll go ahead and put those numbers on the screen as well for you to check out. But of course, fuel economy is very important, but not nearly as much fun as accelerating. Of course, I had to test that. I always have to test that. Let me show you right now. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. I do have the QX60 in sport mode, and we'll see what happens. All right, coming to a complete stop. Hard on the gas. Ha! Yeah, good initial launch. Pretty fast 1-2 shift. Another fast 2-3 shift, and yeah, good hustle. Off we go. Yeah, certainly stout acceleration from this naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6. 9-speed automatic transmission works well to get the shifts done fast. Being in sport mode, we had the quickest reactions to things, and yeah, it was plenty quick, and you could feel that you had good stout power if you needed to tow as well. Stout acceleration, absolutely. Being a 3-row SUV, there's a very good chance that the Infiniti QX60 is going to have family duties. And I'm happy to report that this will be a good tool for that job. You get plenty of conveniences, plenty of cup holders, USB ports, and critically plenty of space as well. Really, so often, what keeps people calm more than anything else is their own space, their elbow room, if you will. And while this is a touch on the stiff side in terms of some premium vehicles out there, I still think the ride is perfectly pleasant and handles bumps and heaves in the road just fine. It's not the most luxurious ride out there, certainly, but it's not the least either. And that is true on roads like this or on the interstate. I had to take it out there as well to test. Let me show you that. All right, everybody, time for an interstate test. See how this Infiniti QX60 feels on the highway. It is an exceptionally windy day today, so wind noise is going to be higher than usual no matter what, but I still think we can get a sense of what it's like compared to other cars in the segment. We do, of course, also have a battery of driving aids. I'll go ahead and put that list up on the screen right now. And of course, that includes adaptive cruise control, which I will turn on, as well as something called steering assist, which I will also turn on. Okay, we are up to speed, going with traffic right around 78 miles an hour. I do have the adaptive cruise control set, and I do also have steering assist set, which means it will keep me centered in the lane and all those kinds of fun things. Now, this is not a system that will let me have sustained hands off the steering wheel. So if my hands are off the steering wheel like this, I was actually kind of off on the left-hand side of the lane, and it got me back to center, which was, really nice. But it will start complaining that I don't have my hands on the wheel. Now, there are some graphics on the instrument cluster to show you when you have steering assist on. And I have another handy dandy little camera to show you that. This is what you see on the instrument cluster. You see the steering wheel, you see the car's position, and its settings for adaptive cruise control and all kinds of things. Now, if I take my hands off the wheel, right now we are following a curve and it's doing a nice job, but after several seconds, there's the warning. More fundamentally, the Infiniti QX60 does have a nice ride on the interstate, albeit it is a bit on the stiff side. Personally, I don't mind that at all, but there are softer riding cars out there. And considering the amount of wind gusts we've been getting, wind noise is pretty reasonable. It's not as good as the best premium segment SUVs out there, but it's definitely competitive. And were it not a windy day, I think you'd find this cabin pretty pleasant. Speaking of pleasant cabins, I have heated seats, heated steering wheel, massaging seats, all kinds of things to keep me plenty comfortable while we're cruising down the road. So yes, I think this would be a very comfortable car to have on the interstate for a nice long road trip. And considering the size of this thing, fuel economy isn't that bad either. An SUV of this size, especially one with family duties, may very well need to tow something as well. And just like the Nissan Pathfinder, the Infiniti QX60 does a reasonable job there. If you get the $900 tow package and have one equipped with all-wheel drive, you can tow up to 6,000 pounds, which gets you into really healthy recreational equipment, bigger boats, campers, plenty of snowmobiles and motocross bikes, things like that. And even front-wheel drive QX60s without the tow package can still tow 3,500 pounds, which still gives you some options of things to tow. So in the end, this really is a pretty darn versatile premium SUV. Lots of space in 3 rows, at least space for 6 if you get the autograph, otherwise space for 7, up to 75 cubic feet of storage if you're just carrying 2 people, and those 2 people, if they want, can get a massage. As I mentioned, it's not the most luxurious premium SUV out there, so if you want ultimate comfort, ultimate refinement, those types of things, this isn't what you're going to choose. But this can also tow more than a lot of the others and still allows you to get your work boots on and get things done. So this is a great SUV for someone that's just kind of like in between. Sometimes you just want to get work done, want something practical, something you can rely on to carry a load or tow something. And then there's sometimes you want to feel just a little bit more posh. Well, you can do that here as well. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you did like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And another review you might be interested in is the Acura MDX, roughly the same price and size as this one. And I'll go ahead and put a link up there or there, I'm not exactly sure. And I'll have a link in the description as well. And I've actually done way more reviews than that, so there's plenty to watch from there as well. Okay, goodbye for now.